Well, it is season 3, episode 4 of Sit in It, the podcast with myself, Tracy A. Martin. I'm a hypnotherapist, whole life practitioner, and life guide intuitive. Sorry you're hearing my dog drinking water in the background right now because life is happening. We are real, we're raw, and we are all authentic when we allow ourselves to be. So this week's podcast is around love bombing. And we're going to get into the broken mind traps right off the bat. And so I want to thank you, Tara, and I want to thank you for Larry for sending in these questions. So many of you have been, and some of you have been in multiple relationships with narcissists. And this is where we're going to start talking today about many of what you have started to be conditioned with of what you think are red flags. So why in the world would you believe that love bombing is a toxic trait? Let's get into it. This programming that has been happening in real time, that many of you on your awakening journey are starting to really get into, is understanding that they take everything that is good, real, and true, and they invert it. And this is how the parasites of the world have been using truth, distorting it for manipulation. And a true narcissist is someone who is so highly insecure, and that is why they need control. They're so scared of losing you that they will belittle you. They will try to keep you to themselves so they don't lose you. They are highly, highly insecure beings. So when I look in the energy of a narcissist, I have a different feeling that I feel towards them compared to most people, because they are just heavy, heavy victims. They had been brought up in a way that they never ever had to be accountable in any way. They were continually made to believe it's everyone else's fault, never theirs. And this is where many of the world, in their gentle parenting skills, and they don't realize they are creating entitled narcissists that have no boundaries, that have zero accountability, and have zero independence or their own self-worth because of the hover moms out there, the control freaks out there that made it all about them, instead of these people learning independence, learning their own confidence, being able to problem solve on themselves, to understand that in order to be in a working relationship with a community, that it can't be all about you. In a home, that it needs to be all the parts and pieces of that beautiful truck have to all be serviced and taken care of. And that's where many of you have had experiences with boys or girls who have narcissistic tendencies. So then they start talking about the first things that you start to see as red flags is that when someone starts to have the dating process with you or to meet you and all that, that the number one thing they start with is love bombing. That is not toxic behavior whatsoever. When was it bad to love without a boundary? When could love be harmful? Love does not harm. Lack does. So let's get into this. It is a natural nature in our instinct, in our process, when we fall for someone or become compatible with someone. It is natural to fall in love, flow in love. And did you know divinely that everyone that is in your experience is because of you? You have written it into your play. Let's go deeper. Did you know that reality is not fixed? No thing in our space-time continuum is fixed. It is continually spiraling forward and involuting, spiraling up and spiraling down at the same time. Did you know that? No different than creating and consuming, creating and consuming. You are either living or you are dying at the same time. This is reality. This is cause and effect. This is natural. So let's understand that your perception, your feeling, is igniting the next part of manifestation. Everything that you, from the time you were in the womb till you were around 6 years old, has been programming of what love is not. That has become what love program is to you. Doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean it's bad. The subconscious mind is literal. It only sees what's on repeat. Therefore, if you have a mom or a dad figure or a parenting figure, grandparent, aunt, uncle that you were very drawn to, very much were a part of your process of life, who they were to you will be an idea of love. Whether they treated you like a doormat, they abandoned you, they were alcoholics, they were all about themselves. Then we get into programming. That has been in this 3D process when we moved through from first, second density into the third density states that we are in this very dense, heavy matter that we are in. And they inverted the feminine. They oppressed the feminine so that the masculine didn't know what to do. It became tyranny. It became control. It became all about the man. So within this ancestral programming that has been cell memory within every life you come here, this ancestral memory of starting to believe that men were more important and to be put on pedestals, that you were worthless and not worthy, has a lot to do with those narcissistic traits as well. And let's find out why you think that someone fully being there and present and loving you up with gifts of time, with gifts that are tangible, with gifts of presence, with gifts of touch, with gifts of communication, how is that toxic? How is that a red flag? It is not. But in the chase part of a relationship, especially on the boy masculine mental plane, they love the chase. Once they believe they've gotten the prize, most relationships become complacent because they don't know what to do to maintain that prize. They don't believe they need to shine up that beautiful prize and keep it going. Do you understand? And so this is part of programming that has been happening, and it's not a narcissistic trait. This is old programming that needs to leave. This needs to leave because that's old 3D imprinted ideas. The thrill of the chase is the whole of your relationship. You will never ever know anyone. Even if you have been with them for 50 years, you will never ever know them. And this takes us out of the love bombing for a bit and into the finding the self. Another broken mind trap. You cannot find you. You are not lost. You are creating yourself with every thought, every contemplation, every decision you make, every action, whether it was just emotional or not, is creating you right here, right now. For you are brand new with every breath you breathe. That exhale is the past you, gone from that now moment. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to create you because of the experiences that you have signed up and said, yes, I'm obviously asking for this because of what I've been focusing on, whether it's been what I've been lack of focusing on or focusing of what I do want. This is how it works. So every person that you have been attracted to has been familiar. They will bring familiarities to you for you to take a look at and say, you know what? Oh my gosh. Most of you say, I will never ever date my father. I will never ever date this person again. I will never ever date this person again. But all you saw was the face, not the traits. Let's get deeper. Love bombing is love. It's beautiful. Most people right now, the moment that they start being loved in an unconditional way, you have all been programmed so heavy to run because it's foreign, because it feels too good to be true, that you run or you shut down because you've been taught to do this, to continually be blocking and shielding yourself from real, whole love, truth, and authenticity. How many of you in this dating world don't want to date anymore because you see so many people with commitment issues, but you're one of them because you've decided that you see love bombing as a red flag. You're believing everything the media is telling you. All these so-called specialists, these psychiatrists and psychologists that are really good drug dealers that want you to be a victim because that's how they make their money, so that they can drug you up and just listen to you talk because your conscious mind knows what it's talking about. Yes, I'm being condescending, and there's a reason behind it because of what I do for a living. No one wants to believe that you're the bad guy in the story. You believe that person is bad for you. If you are dating, continually dating people who are bringing forth toxic traits, the one thing those people you're dating have in common is you. So until you get into understanding what love is and to understanding what love is not to you, and that you start to have a list of requirements of who you will not allow to bring of that lack to you, this is where we level up. And this is what Sit-Nit's all about. This is what I do day in and day out with everyone I sit in session with, whether it's from Zoom or personally in my chair. This is holding you accountable to why you would think on any level that any level of feeling good is bad for you. First, do no harm. Create because it's your birthright. Love like you have never been hurt. Why has society purposefully creating reasons for you to have commitment issues? The boy and the girl pretending to be the man and the woman are all starting to break through at this time, and that's what makes it so exciting for me at what I do, because I'm watching boys who were pretending to be men that are sitting in my chair saying, I don't want to play small anymore. I know there's more to this. I want to be the gentleman code. I want to love. I want to have a real relationship. I want to have a family. I want to be the provider. I want to be the protector. I just don't know where to begin because I have been hurt so many times, and women real women will not hurt you, but girls pretending to be women will, because they're playing out their wounds. Anyone who thinks they should be in a relationship when they haven't worked through their wounds, their scars, their battle scars, because they've decided that every relationship they've been in has been a battle and has left them scarred on some level, how about let's get you to sit in this and contemplate for a while. Let's get you to the root of who you are. You are an experience, having experiences. All of them are lessons. Some what you do not want, some what you now want to catapult and want more of. Some you're not sure of. So we're going to use the buffet. We're going to have our plate at this beautiful buffet that's never ending. It's so long and vast, and it smells so good, and some of the smells are a little pungent, and some of them are like, ooh, I'm kind of magnetically attracted to this. We are all guided between our minds and our hearts and the programs of what we've decided feels comfortable or normal to us, only because of what we have seen over and over and over again as the seed that plants into the program of what we are. We literally are a computer, and a supercomputer at that. That's why with what I do as a hypnotherapist, it's super easy to get in and take those old programs, put them in the recycle bin, put in the new program. We restart you up, we reboot you, and away you go. Because everything that you focus on, have seen, touched, felt, played in tangibly, whether it is mentally, emotionally, spiritually, will come through physically. Because it already is. It knows no difference. It will physically present itself last. Why is it easy to get your conscious mind out of the way? Because the me is the egoic personality that believes it has control and it knows everything. And it's 5. It's the mentality of a 5-year-old. The self, who is observing what me is doing, is your subconscious. And the I am consciousness of all that is source and all the flavor of all that you are as pieces and parts of source, having the experience for all that is of creation. You are not separate from it. But when you feel separated from the connection of who you really are, when you play into the victim mode, when you continually focus that you aren't good enough, that you aren't pretty enough, that you are not whatever enough, everything becomes a spell that's cast into bringing you that experience because you're asking for it. You are focusing on it. You're sitting in it. You are creating that emotion behind it, and it's going to give you more of that because there is no judgment through the subconscious and superconscious. There's no judgment. It doesn't know what good is and bad is. It only knows what you, through your free will, are deciding as the experience that you're requiring next. Love bombing. What are ideas of love bombing? Everyone has a different idea of what love bombing is to them. When I meet someone and I want to have a relationship with them, it's because of who I am. That I'm going to give to them my ideas of what love is. Your ideas of what love is and how someone is relaying them to you are going to feel good or they're not because of your level of love. So if you were brought up and can't handle being kissed because you were taught that kissing in public is wrong, or that it just didn't feel good, you didn't like being seen with public displays of affection, then that's something that the two of you have a conversation about so that you can either listen to hear to want to understand so that you can break through it, or that person say, okay, if that's who you are, if that doesn't match my idea of what love is, then maybe we're not meant for each other. And it starts with those simplicities. Or do they start small by slowly moving themselves out of that comfort zone of normal zone into experiencing new things, like holding hands in public? How many of you don't know how to communicate because you believe it's all confrontational. And someone who could be love bombing you, that wants to know everything about you, because that's what love is them wanting to know you inside out. You may find it uncomfortable because you don't feel safe, you don't trust because of your trust issues, because you're bringing baggage from every other experience in. So the moment people want to get to know you, you find it not okay. How does anyone get to know you if you don't let them in? Did you know? Let's define what a lie is. If I'm in a relationship with someone and they want to know me, they want to know things about me, and I don't think it's their business to know, then I know I have created that relationship with a boundary of this. So they only get to know so much, so it becomes compartmentalized, because this is where I'm going to keep them because of who I believe they are, of who they've shown me to be. Then there's people that are going to match you with your frequency. So, and you'll be the one that ends up opening up and telling them everything because they match more of the frequency of who you are. So you trust them, you feel safe with them, so then you open up and tell them more. Do you know anyone in your life that you feel safe enough, that you feel loved, safe, secure, and heard, that you tell them as the best friend because they have the very similar frequency? There's no judgment, there's no expectation around them. It is just who they are, where it feels like home. This is happening on this plane, and that's why many people at this time are feeling very, very confused, because now that the veil is thinned, now that the darkest of the darkest has been removed, and it's the last of the loose energies and the lurker that are left in certain little planes of existence, it's now just mindset and old programming that we need to break through and transmute. And that's why now we have massive amounts of soul family coming home. And you may be in an intimate relationship and have tons of your soul family coming home, and now you're confused because how can this be happening at the same time? How can I love someone on such a soul level, yet I'm committed to being in this relationship? This is happening on this plane at this time. And that's why we're seeing people and the ideas of what relationships are that are changing and expanding. For instance, some of the courses that I'm teaching this weekend and in April are around that specifically. We were in a program of a 3D world that we were in that had a very minimal idea of what love is in a boundaried way that didn't have this infinite expansion. And so, for instance, let's bring up your idea of love and your ideas around certain words. So many of you that have felt guided, that read through the 5 love languages. And I've used that with a lot of my clients, especially couples, because not only when you read the 5 love languages do you have an understanding of what your idea of requirements of love are and in what frequency and place that you place them in, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, that you have a relatability. And so many people in these relationships, when they had the ideas of, it was quality time and quality and so everyone had them in these 5 different categories of what their idea of love is. And they could bring it into their work atmosphere, with their friends, with their family, any kind of intimate relationships, and it kind of stayed there. And that was this 3D idea of love. And it's very boundaried. and it's very limited. And where we're moving into what this 5D love expansion is where it's taking us to new levels. And this is what's happening in many relationships right now. Why boys who have graduated into being men, this divine masculine that's coming back is anchored, this king energy, why they're not interested in dating girls pretending to be women, because they see how limited they are and how they have nothing to offer them on a soul level. Because we're talking the 5 embodiments of what you are now, of what needs to be ordered for our 5D, instead of this 3D matrix that has been so limited. The same with women. Women who've graduated from being girls, that are women in the divine feminine, that require and demand that king energy, because they are now the queen energy. And they are not settling, because they know that they're not desperate. They're not interested in broken ideas of love. They want it continually. And this is why I'm seeing so many relationships that are parting ways now. And it's not sad at all. Everything's happening on purpose. Everything has a minute, a moment, or a lifetime within it. And we are not supposed to be limited beings. We're here to experience and ever expand. And when you're ready to level up, the next beautiful souls are here to help you level up. That's why many of you are listening to this or watching this and feeling this, because it called you here through the law of luminosity, and there's stuff in here that you're getting. And that's why some people are going to be triggered by what I have to say. And some people are so excited because they're like, yes, I'm not alone in how I'm feeling. And many of you are feeling alone. And it's because you have been taught to keep everything to yourself, to fix it and deal with it all by yourself. The one thing that's happened in the last 6 years is that many people realized that we naturally love communities. We love sharing, caring, and being a part of things. And when that was pulled away from you, the biggest psychological warfare that they did was detach you. But in the paradox of this duality, we have the highest vibrations of light and the deepest of the darkest areas for us to take a look in. And in the silence, do we learn a lot about ourselves? Yes. In the silence and the devotion to starting to love ourselves and to be there for ourselves, support each other on that way, we build that strength, that independence, and that clarity. Only in the observing do we realize what we've been playing in when we've been in it and it's been normal to us. And the moment we realize something's just not right and I'm done with this and I'm ready for the next thing, that's when we set our present that we have been playing with aside, not to get rid of it, but it opens you up to be ready to allow for the next present. The whole purge is happening right now. So I want you to take a look. I ask you to sit in this week or forever, how long it needs to. I want you to take a look at all the conditioning happening in your social media platforms, in movies, on the radio, and see all the broken mind traps that want you to stay away from being loved, of allowing experiences. Like I've said, let's bring us back to love bombing. And how about we change love bombing to loving on purpose because of who we are? When you are being loved up by someone, it will never hurt you. But the moment they stop is when you need to be the one communicating, saying, why has this stopped? Why was this a part of the relationship of us? And now you've decided you don't need to be that anymore. This is what accountability is. This helps people grow. And on this plane of existence, the divine feminine that will show up, she's not going to be easy. She is going to make you remember who you are. You're not little, and you're not the avatar. That is just you having an experience. You are a magnificent being who's forgotten that you are a master manifester, that you are a king, that you are a queen, and you're allowed to create your heaven, your kingdoms here. A true divine masculine is going to want to protect you, not because you are weak, but because of how important you are, because of how majestic you are. A true divine feminine is going to stand beside you and push you to be the most fantastic king of your kingdom. She's not going to let you play small. She's going to nurture you. She's going to create whatever you bring to her. She's going to multiply it because she feels loved, safe, secure, and heard. And she will make you feel loved, safe, secure, and heard. Divine feminines are mirrors. She's going to mirror to you exactly what you are. That's the great thing about feminine creators. That's why the female brain loves multitasking, because we can handle many things at the same time. Men are very singular focused, and that is why when they focus on one singular thing, it can become massive grand, because they don't let anything in the way of it, especially when it comes to building their kingdoms. And that's why when the two of you come into union together, it can be very scary, because it's a love that is so impactful that it will awaken millions of beautiful souls. And this is the reason many of you have been kept from each other in many of these experiences of our lifelines, because the dark ones knew what divine energy is. That is the God working through you. Therefore, can love be toxic? Not ever. But lack sure the hell is. So I hope you take what you need, leave the rest behind. Please do send your questions in that you would like to sit in, contemplate in for the next podcast, as the only time I show up is when a question has been asked. And so please send your question, and if you want an alias name or have no problem with your name, please make sure that you have who you are and what question or questions you have, and send it email to support@livingwholeonpurpose.com. I want you to have the most magnificent day, because you are magnificent. I don't want you to play small. I don't want you to pretend anymore. I want you to stand up, declare it, and be it. Require it. This is Tracy A. Martin, and I will talk to you soon.